Spoiler alert, Rhaenyra's on the throne. Let's go. I was nervous for the second episode of season 3 of House of the Dragon. I was nervous at the very beginning because I was starting to think that the pacing for this season was going to be at a crawl. Because of the way that it opens up, we're still looking up from Veermax's perspective, essentially, looking up at Jace while he's just a lifeless body floating in the sea. And then we get a little bit more of him, you know, him being taken home. Rhaenyra is having her reaction. Obviously, Emma Darcy, that performance just in the first 5 minutes of her screen time in this episode alone, I believe that Emma Darcy absolutely will be needing to win every award possible for their role in House of the Dragon season 3, because that, like, those first 5-10 minutes of her of Rhaenyra's screen time, Emma Darcy put on a clinic. They easily should be the favorite to win every award possible. So good. I literally had a tweet about it. I said, Emma Darcy, oh my God, GOAT, because it was fantastic. But then we move from there and we go to Corlys, obviously still alive. I was happy about that. And then we see his side of the family kind of together, like the ones who are still there and still remain in the positions in the story that still are there and a part of this. We got to see that. We got to see them have a conversation, and he tells his son that he has nothing else to give him, but he's got his name. You know, I thought that was a really emotional scene as well. I feel like they could have spent some more time or kind of gone back to them eventually as the story was progressing. But as we get done with that, Daemon comes home, and then the pace just completely picks up. Like I said, I was very nervous as this episode starts off, because I was like, are we literally going to crawl towards this eventual taking of the Iron Throne by Rhaenyra? Are we just going to crawl at a turtle's pace this season? But as soon as Daemon had the conversation with Rhaenyra as she is grieving her son, her heir, she gets up and she's like, all right, let's go. Like, let's get down to business. And I turned to my wife and I was like, thank God, it is about time. And that's why I have that on the thumbnail for this video, because it is about time. I feel like we had been watching Rhaenyra be held up at Dragonstone and essentially handcuffed for the majority of last season. And then I thought that was the direction that this season was about to go. And I am very glad that that is not the case, because I feel like it's important for us as the audience, us as the viewer, to finally get an opportunity to see Rhaenyra head held high, riding Syrax into King's Landing, taking the Iron Throne. We deserve to see that. We deserve to see, you know, and especially after the line that she had last week where she says, I may have the frail or fragile appearance of a woman, or I forget how she said it, but you guys remember the quote that I'm referring to. She said basically on the inside, I found it. It was the line where she says, I may appear to have the weak and feeble body of a woman, but I possess the heart and spirit of a king. And we have been not given a chance to see that, right? We see the way that Rhaenyra can command a room, that when Rhaenyra can command the people that are around her, her subjects essentially, and they listen to her, they respect her, but we never got a chance to see the rest of what it means in ancient times and medieval times to be a king, essentially, right? Obviously, we know that she is a queen, but she is the first queen of Westeros. And so this was something that they had never seen before. And she was trying to explain to her people, like, I can do this. I can lead from the front. I don't have to lead from the back like you think that I do. And we finally got a chance to see it. She gathers Ulf, Hugh Hammer on their dragons, which was so cool to see Vermithor flying into King's Landing, which I guess technically should be renamed to Queen's Landing for the time being, at least. I don't know. That's a different conversation. And Caraxes finally got a little bit of action with Caraxes. It was cool to see Caraxes like getting that drink of water at the beginning of the episode. I thought that was pretty cool. Not sponsored, but shout out to Popeyes. It's fantastic chicken. We had it for dinner tonight. But then just the moment that she goes in to take the throne and pulls her sword like she is ready to fight with Daemon against the Kingsguard who is protecting the throne, I was like, this is the Rhaenyra that I was wanting so badly to see. And we finally got a chance to see that. So I am excited to see kind of what that is going to lead to over the coming weeks, right? This was just episode 2. We have so many episodes left in this season. So I'm excited to see how much more of the badass Rhaenyra that we get to see, and not the handcuffed version of Rhaenyra that we have been having to see over the last, several episodes, even dating back to season 2. I really appreciate that they did that, and that they finally gave that to us. Obviously, I've never read the source material, so I don't know how the story originally was supposed to look and how the story was originally supposed to go. So if that's how it's supposed to happen, then by all means. The other thing that I had 2 other things that I really wanted to talk about. The first thing is Aemond dead? Looked pretty dead to me. And it makes sense because he was going to Harrenhal, and then he kills all of the heirs of Harrenhal, essentially. And then he dies in the process. And he falls at the feet of the witch at Harrenhal. What is her name? Alice? I need to look that up too. Alice Rivers. I need to set like a character list, because there are so many characters that are a part of the like major plot points in this season. I need to have like a running list of characters. Okay, he's dead, she's dead. This is what's happening between. That's what I need offhand. That way I just have an easier reference for these reaction videos. But he said, "Help me," and she refused to even blink, which I thought was so cool. Like that moment was like, that was badass. Like that was one of those moments where I'm just like, that was pretty badass. And he falls at her feet, and that was the last that we see of Aemond. And obviously we're supposed to be led as the viewer that hasn't read the source material to think that he dies in that moment. But they did this with Corlys last week, where we thought, oh, maybe he's dead. Maybe he didn't make it. But we find out this week that he actually wasn't dead, and he was actually quite alive, like so much so that he's able to have conversation, stand on his own 2 feet, those types of things. So there's a piece of me that thinks he's dead. There's a piece of me selfishly that hopes he's dead. And there's also a piece of me that's like, I don't think that he's quite dead yet. But of course, Aegon is very much alive, and that is going to be, I don't know if that's going to be what happens towards the end of this season, if they have finally their head-to-head. I mean, that's her half-brother. That's Rhaenyra's half-brother, which is just weird to think about, but like, they will have to finish their fight, right? Like, this is the Dance of the Dragons. Like, this is supposed to be the thing that almost leads to the extinction of the dragons, right? Like, this is what is the biggest like civil war in the Targaryen family history. This is what we're supposed to see. So I don't know how this is going to flesh out, and I don't know if Aemond is or isn't a part of that moving forward. But I very much think that he probably is alive. He probably does make it to episode 3, but I wouldn't mind if I were wrong in that prediction, I guess. Not really a prediction, but it's kind of just a thought that I have. But I will say, when when he rides Vhagar into Harrenhal and just starts wrecking shop, like Vhagar is so freaking big, dude. They did a really good job showing like the sizing with Vhagar, with her riding by Harrenhal. Like Vhagar dwarfed a freaking castle. That's crazy. And the fire that her fire breath left, like that, the path that it left behind was incredibly big. So it just like it did a good job showing how big she actually is. And I feel like they've done an okay job of that so far, like leading up to this moment. Like obviously like eating Lucerys, like of course that shows how big Vhagar is, but to see Vhagar in comparison, like right up to a castle, like in a castle, they did a really good job of that. And I remember when Aemond gets off of Vhagar and just starts like slashing people with his sword, which by the way, might have the sharpest sword I have ever seen in my life of watching these types of movies and TV shows. I looked at my wife and I said, he wants to be his uncle so bad, because she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, that's not, he wants to be Daemon. And she's like, is that not Daemon? I was like, no, that's Aemon. He just rode Vhagar. And she's like, oh my God. And I was like, that's the point. Like, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. He wants to be his uncle so bad. Like to the point where they almost had Aemond essentially trying to take Harrenhal the exact same way that Daemon took Harrenhal in season 2. They're playing it so well that he is very much just a great value brand Daemon, if essentially in this episode, in this season. So I thought they did a good job with that. But again, I don't know if he survives. Don't know if he's still alive. Don't know if he's going to make it to episode 3. I would venture to guess that he does, but that will be left to see next Sunday. And then obviously the last thing that I really got a lot of love from, and if you haven't watched the ending of this episode, which I'm assuming you probably have if you're this far into this video, like we're like 10 minutes, 12 minutes into this video, seeing Otto Hightower have his head taken by the one true queen of Westeros was so cathartic. I do not like that, man. And I am kind of glad that she closed her eyes and missed on the first swing. And then the second swing, it was just a clean cut. Maybe I'm a bad person for thinking this, but I feel like most people are going to agree with me. That guy sucked. And heads had to roll. Someone's head had to roll. And it just so happens to be the king's grandpa. So it worked for me. It really did. I think overall, this was one of the better episodes of House of the Dragon that I've seen in a minute. And I thought last episode was really good. It was so action-packed that I felt like I was getting whiplash. Like, I mentioned in my episode 1 reaction that I don't think I blinked the last like 20 minutes. I think I held my breath the entire time. This episode did a really great job, I think, of moving the story along, but at a pace that's like easy to digest, easy to understand. It did a really good job. I'm not going to rank the episodes but once we get to the end of the season, I'll give an overall ranking. But until that point comes, I'll just say I think this was the best episode so far of season 2, which there's only 2 episodes, or season 3. Only 2 episodes, so whatever. Those are my instant reactions. I really enjoyed this episode. I was locked in. I'm excited about the rest of the season. I'm really excited about the way that the season is going to go now that we have finally seen Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, first of her name, Queen of the Andals, the Rhoynar and the First Men, Lady of the Seven Kingdoms, Protector of the Realm. Finally on the Iron Throne. Let's go, baby. Make sure you click the subscribe button. If you like this video, click that like button. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you guys thought of episode 2 of season 3 of House of the Dragon in the comment section below. Get the conversation started. I'm curious to hear what everybody's thoughts are out there. And before you leave, click that subscribe button. We are slowly growing and we're inching our way towards 700 subscribers, which is freaking crazy. So click that subscribe button and I will catch you all in the next video. Enjoy your dinner.